France saw widespread demonstrations on May 1st, 2026, as tens of thousands of people took to the streets across the country to mark International Workers' Day. Organized by major unions including the CGT and the CFDT, protests were held in major cities such as Paris, Toulouse, and Strasbourg. Authorities estimated that between 100,000 and 150,000 people participated nationwide. However, union leaders, particularly the CGT, claimed that more than 300,000 demonstrators joined the marches, including around 100,000 in Paris alone. In the French capital, the main protest moved from Place de la République to Place de la Nation, drawing large crowds in a tense but determined atmosphere. At the heart of the demonstrations were familiar demands: higher wages, stronger purchasing power, and urgent political action to address the rising cost of living. Before the Paris March began, Sophie Binet described the situation as an absolute social emergency. She called for a major plan to increase wages and regulate corporate profits, arguing that current policies are not sufficient to protect workers. One of the key controversies this year was the debate over working on May Day. Traditionally, May 1st is a public holiday in France during which most workers are not allowed to work. However, the government is considering changes to allow certain sectors, such as bakeries and florists, to remain open. This proposal has sparked strong criticism from unions. According to RMC, a baker in Bourgogne-Jallieu was inspected by labor authorities for opening his shop and employing staff. The business owner claimed that employees volunteered and were paid double wages, and said he was not concerned about potential penalties. This legal uncertainty has added to tensions and highlighted the gap between policy decisions and everyday realities. In response, Marylis Leon, head of the CFDT, criticized what she called political staging. She was referring to symbolic visits by politicians such as Gabriel Attal and Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu, who were seen visiting bakeries and buying bread. According to her, such gestures fail to reflect the real working conditions faced by employees, particularly in physically demanding jobs. The protests also highlighted political divisions, especially on the left. On the ground, the day was also marked by security concerns. Authorities feared the presence of black bloc groups. According to Figaro, around 200 such individuals were identified at the front of the Paris March, with larger numbers reported in Nantes. The same source reported that a police officer was injured during clashes in Nantes. In Amiens, another incident drew attention. According to ICI, Olivier Faure, leader of the Socialist Party, was attacked with flour by masked individuals at the end of a demonstration. Marine Tondelier, a leading Green figure, warned about a lack of unity ahead of the 2027 presidential election. She referred to the expected candidacy of Jean-Luc Mélenchon and criticized divisions among left-wing parties. Mélenchon himself spoke about the worsening economic situation, stating that prices are rising while incomes are stagnating or falling. He called for emergency social legislation, including measures to align wages with inflation. Meanwhile, on the far right, Marine Le Pen held a separate event in the city of Mâcon, organized by the Rassemblement National. She emphasized the need to restore what she called the value of work, arguing that wages in France are no longer sufficient to ensure a decent standard of living. She was joined by Jordan Bardella, and both referenced national historical symbols during their speeches. This episode reflects growing tensions between political figures and segments of the public. Beyond the numbers and incidents, May Day 2026 in France reveals a deeper social unease. With inflation, economic pressure, and political divisions all intensifying, the country is entering a period of heightened tension. As the 2027 presidential election approaches, these protests serve as a clear signal that social issues remain at the forefront of public concern.
Free